pre-code. Mr. Mohanty.
Thank you very much. This is K. Babul Mohanty from Richmond, London, UK. I am very much privileged to have been invited by Dr. Sekhar to be here to talk to you all. Thank you, Dr. Sekhar. Uh, I also like to uh, thank my predecessor, Dr. Vasily. He has occupied nearly most of the subject matter. Being an European, he has taught India, Indian village, Indian poor system, Indian technology, everything he has covered. He saved a lot of time for me. Okay, so my dear friends, my dear good brothers, my dear sisters, and all my respected listeners, or my co-directors like Bhupati Rajendran, my good friend and partner and chairman, and Mr. Raman Pillai, and all our collaborators like C.V. Anand, and Mr. Madhav, and Dr. Alex in Thailand, and the other youngsters in other areas. If you listen to me, I can tell you hello to you. Little bit about me, as Dr. Sekhar has already announced. I was born in a small coastal village of Orissa, India. Uh, After studying in a primary and high school and college in the Utkal University, I thought of coming to Germany for higher studies. It had got some meaning because at that time there were mighty German companies. They built a steel plant, Rohrkeller, uh, and I was going through the papers. This is in Germany, land of technique and wonder, that inspired me so much that I thought I must go and conquer. So I came for higher studies for metallurgy, iron metallurgy. I this having this inspiration in me. After studying, I went to many different kind of business activities. My father was alone in India, so I wanted to tell him hello, to give him salute after my studies. But the ticket was very costly. It was 3,000 German marks, the salary of an engineer for 4 months. So nobody could afford it. Whereas in London, Bombay, Delhi back is 80 pounds only. Whereas in Germany it was 3,000. So, but one clever chap, he made a charter flight of Air India on the 66 seats and sold for 1,250 marks, 60% discount. So I ran quickly, but unfortunately it was fully booked. But I cannot leave it like that. So I made the score within 1 month. I made my own charter, 166 seat for me, and my tickets are free. On top of that, I made 15,000 German marks profit. That why I'm mentioning that changed whole my lifestyle, life issue. I never came out of that business. I became the biggest discount charter operator in whole Europe except London. That continued for 10, 12 years. It was terrific. I was the GS of 6 airlines, including Air India or Jamshedji Tata. He was no more the owner, but he was spending time with me for a drink in Geneva in the head office with Madam. So these are the small things I just mentioned, but I will not take long on that. And then I was involved in African trading because Africa is a poor country, everything needed there. So you go, you don't send containers and shiploads. Okay, fine. But uh, ultimately, when I was a small child, 5 years or 6 years, in that Orissa village, we were running to see the water plane, how it looks like in my river water, with barefoot and half pant. 2001, somebody came to me and told, hey, there is an English company in India, a lot of assets, but not doing well. So I went to Google, I saw that is the company whose plane was running in my river water. So I made sure that I took it over. This is the famous East India Company remains. It is Titagarh PLC, having 15,000 workers, and every Indian family is having 10, 12 people, 3 generations. So about 300,000 people, they live on my industrial activities in India. It is a holding public limited company in Scotland. But Scotland is the only holding company registered in 1883 when the East India Company was closing down. Anyway, that's all to my to my introduction, but I am little bit in difficulty now, Dr. Sekhar, because you have proposed to talk about the COVID-19, the post-COVID-19 in India. I am still confused, yet to find out that post-COVID. I can't see that at the end of the tunnel. I can't imagine when it is coming. And if you allow me to say, I don't find any difference between pre-COVID-19, present COVID-19, and post-COVID-19. How it can change in India. India, it cannot change rapidly anything over there. So we have to talk about what Dr. Vasily has also mentioned. And on the top of this, I just mentioned in general, when an infant is born, the problem starts from there. The struggle starts from there. The mortality of infants in India, a country like India with 1400 million people, are millions due to lack of medical care, due to lack of food, baby food, and all these things. That continues. The children, they also have a very, very rough time on scarcity of food, scarcity of maintenance, scarcity of medicine, and education, and so on. And even that continues even to the elderly people who are jobless, don't have a square meal a day. Well, it continues right up to the retirement and to death. This is the system. It is there. Whatever language you can put, you can make green energy and technical development and so. But the fact remains pre-COVID and post-COVID. Okay. So, but luckily, our friendly and very cooperative government is doing a lot to eradicate this sort of poverty. There is all support from a number of international charitable associations and also philanthropic gentlemen whose help is very much needed, and they have been born with golden spoon in mouth, so they can possibly spare a plastic spoon in the poor. Okay. Most importantly, the creation of job to help everybody to have a square meal a day on the table and a roof over the head, whether most of them are homeless, staying on the street of mighty India. That must be eradicated. Whatever which you will do, okay, it is very essential and very important to provide sort of accommodation, maybe like low-cost housing or multiple housing projects. Of course, it is admirable that our government and many more individuals are ready to contribute, like our Pradhan Mantri Yojana. They are giving also low-cost housing in mass accommodation. So we should join. Everybody should do whatever one can do maximum to solve this problem. Many people, individuals, and also organizations are willing to contribute and participate in such low-cost housing and more accommodation to be available. I am proud to mention here my predecessor, Dr. Christopher Vasily, who is a very renowned philanthropic personality who never hesitated to do all possible humanitarian and helpful projects to help the poor and the needy. I have gone through his website. It shows all his activities. Not that what has been mentioned here, but he is a real operator. Another important point is mass education. Millions of children are deprived of primary education, higher education, And luckily, our government is going into new education bills. They're going to make it affordable for every child, finding new ways and new means of distant learning and self-learning, which is coming up very fast. Corona is contributing to that. So that is also one thing I am networking myself strongly. Uh, I would now like to enter to my last stage of talking. Uh, is India is an agro-based country. Without agriculture, nothing is happening. And with the agriculture, country is sufficient. We have got enough fertile land and enough water, but maybe it is not enough. That is where you come back to the poverty again. By simply creating more reservoir, more dams, we store this big volume of water which is uselessly running to the high sea, and we can utilize it on for the agricultural development. But also Dr. Vasily was mentioning a lie to that. I also like to or this reservoir can be used also for the production of electricity with this free raw material like water. We have got a free raw material from sun for the solar, and it is additional to that. I would like to mention here my own group, IPG group of Australia, under the leadership of my good friend and partner, Chairman Raman Pillai, and his co-directors like Bhupati Rajendran and Dr. Alex in Thailand, and like that. They have identified some sort of reservoir, dam-based reservoir, which could be of big help for the cultivation, for the agriculture. And they have also gone that far to appoint very experienced persons like C.V. Anand and Mr. Madhav, who are very much highly experienced. Mr. C.V. Anand is himself an agriculturist who is involved in a 1,000 acre land of his own, making organic farming. I wish everybody, small or big, to be active in these multiple projects for our country's brightening up. And I thank you also, Mr. C.V. Anand and Mr. Madhav and everybody concerned. Now I talk to you about a state, Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is at the south end, on the end of the south, and it is at the south tail of the country. It has got problem in getting water supply from neighboring states. It is a big country with 75 million people and 7 million additional neighboring immigrants. It is in language is Tamil, and it contributes number 2 state in India to contribute to Indian GDP. The problem here is again the water supply. The water Tamil Nadu has got 195 million tons cubic, whereas the neighboring country has got 550 million tons cubic, and it must be sorted out. It must be somehow done. It is not possible to make any more reservoir in Tamil Nadu, but there are a lot of rivers where check dams can be constructed. There are 32,000 lakes and ponds, which is good enough to efficiently store the running water. The rainfall in Tamil Nadu is 950 millimeter per year, which is equivalent to 4,250 million tons of cubic. But this huge capacity of which goes straight unutilized to the high sea. So the rainwater harvesting should be also mandatory. I'm just trying to solve the water problem. which then you can come back to a hydro project and solar project, everything, but no water, no agro, no food, no cultivation. So we are very seriously going to request the government to make it to be helpful in building these check dams on the rivers at different places, at different size, and also during the monsoon time, the overflowing water on the river can be pumped out to fill up the lakes and the ponds for storage. Number three is the sewage water of the municipality and corporations could be treated slightly and pumped to the dry land, dry places for man-made forest to create again the life of human being. Then one more thing is the organic farming. The fertilizers we use mostly inorganic, which is 99%. By using inorganic fertilizer, we kill the earthworms. The soil is dead, soil is rather poisonous. And the birds and bees also change a complete different environment. And so to use the organic fertilizer is itself a big advantage for agricultural. Our Mr. C.V. Anand, I mentioned before, he is very much into it for the organic farming. Tamil Nadu, why I mentioned of Tamil Nadu? Tamil Nadu is a mirror picture of all other 29 states. Similar is the case over there, same or the similar situation in every sector, in water sector, in poverty, everything. Furthermore, I am very happy to announce here with my colleagues like Bhuvati Rajendran and Dr. Alex and Don Strong and Joe from Vanuatu. We are active in a number of projects in Asia. In Thailand, a company called Hum Hin Grand Alexander City Private Limited, chaired by Dr. Alex, has appointed us to be the humanitarian project funding.
Very good.
For these projects, for all the projects in Thailand, which are mostly educational, low-cost housing, and so on.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.